So in interest, the students who are in school right now, whether you're an undergraduate or graduate, I mean, if you pull enough people together, so those who may be in management, those who may be in writing, those who are, maybe reporting, stuff like that, they can pull together and then create their own individual companies. So, like you said, you don't have to rely on getting the news from the major networks. I mean, I hate to mention this, but that's what we thought at one time. BET, and you got TV One. Those are commercially, I call it commercially blended.
Oh yeah.
But do you think, and I think we do, what are your thoughts about possible future entrepreneurs coming out and creating something to create such an impact? Because you said, like the net. Yeah, bloggers have some power in a way. Like you said, she created that blog, but that can grow. Like you said, got as many readers as the New York Times, Miss Huffington.
Yeah.
And there are other people out there who are growing, and once you get hits, that grows to many things. It can grow just from a page, a website, and that can go into a publication, and then that can grow into some sort of communications, deal going on.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. I mean, the key is, to me, how deep is your ability to think outside the box? How constrained are you by the old rules of doing things? If you are scared to venture to new land, then or scared to leave the shore, then you'll never find new land to plant your flag on. So, effectively, I think that with students, I've seen students go and create $100 million companies on the internet by being creative enough to do it. So, I'm sort of just waiting, I like people who have the courage to think differently. And so when those students come along and they show that they have that desire and ability to change the game, not to just play the game. See, too many of us, out of fear, we just spend our whole lives playing the game. And you never get anywhere, in my opinion, just by playing the game. I'm a fan of trying to change the game. The hard part about it is sometimes you get burned. Sometimes you try something new and it doesn't work. But, I can tell you, every 3 or 4 years, by trying something different, I usually discover something I never would have discovered otherwise. And so with students, I encourage them to just be different. Don't be afraid to try to change the game that you're playing, because that's ultimately how you can win.
Okay. It's funny. It's sort of like what we're trying to do here at the network, the Newhouse School Black and Latino Network. We have gone to the net because, every 3 years at Syracuse University, we all come together. When I say we, I mean the African American and Latino alumni who have been out there in the workforce, from who recently graduated, who've been out there for many years. We come together as one major resource on campus. And that's going to be happening this September 25th to 28th on the SU campus. And I'm definitely hoping to see you around, because we need you to inspire a couple of people, and we're going to inspire so many other students, so that maybe next year when we pull this together, we'll have some students who may be doing this live on television broadcasting,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to CBT. I loved my chance to go to CBT 3 years ago, and one thing I can say that can be reflective of the what we can do as alumni. I consider myself an honorary alumni. I hope that's okay. For example, I'll give you an example. Me, I'm very open. I just tell you what's going on. I don't like making things up. But I will say this: there was central administrative pressure to keep me off of any CBT panels. They didn't. No one, and I don't care. I mean, I'm on panels all the time. I give speeches all the time. It wasn't a big deal to me one way or the other. But some people were pressured. Some black administrators were pressured to keep me off CBT panel. Well, someone told me that basically the alumni came in and said, no, we want Boyce Watkins on a panel. We want him on this panel, and then that's all there is to it. And as a result, they had to put me on the panel. And so, really, and I didn't know any of this was going on. I just go to places where I'm invited. But that just says that when we come together and work together and make sure our interest and our agenda is reflected, then I think that can make a difference. The other thing that someone had mentioned to me is that, that he said that, the alumni network, he said a lot of the ability of the alumni network to dictate the direction of the university comes from money, the ability to raise money. And so if there are also ways that the alumni network can be more effective in terms of fundraising and things like that, I think that might give you guys a greater opportunity to have even more of a say in terms of what SU does with its future.
Definitely, definitely. Being involved with the coming back together as well since I was an undergraduate, and when I got involved, you're right. A lot of that is money, but also alumni don't understand the power that they have. It's the alumni who work these workshops. You know, you have moderators, you have panelists. We come together, and in the years we have changed it to make it into a little, effective workshops so that when you come there and you see these people there talking from their experience, you can walk away with some knowledge. And we just pray and hope that those who do come, those who have learned, those who have paid attention, will walk away with that information and go on and build and become even greater students and alumni in that sense.
Absolutely.
I want to throw my doors open to our Q&A panelists. I know they may have some additional questions on other topics. I just want to throw out to them because I have some other questions too. But let me go to Ebony. Ebony, do you have any particular questions you want to ask Dr. Boyce Watkins?
I had questions. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
I
go
had
ahead.
a question about your current challenge with tenure, and what exactly is the challenge? Why do you think it is a challenge? And how can we as alumni help you and support you? And just tell us a little bit about what's going on with the tenure situation.
Okay. Yeah, I've been pretty open and honest about the tenure thing. Basically, the Whitman School, to my knowledge, in all of its 7 different departments, has not tenured an African American in 120 years of operating history. And what's interesting, what's sad about that number is that that's true at business schools all across the country. and what's triply sad about it is if you look at the root of the explanations for why many business schools have not tenured African Americans, the root of the answer is usually based in white supremacy. The responses you will get are things like, well, there are no qualified black people out there. And that says that you have a job that has been done by thousands and thousands of white males, but there's no black person on earth qualified to do that job. And that's, an incredibly flawed and problematic response to a very serious problem, because most of the students who go through SU, most of them never have a black professor unless they take a class in African American studies. And that's what they call the ghettoization of academia, where the black faculty are sort of pushed into departments like African American studies but aren't really readily invited to take a leading role in departments like biology or finance, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's kind of what you're dealing with in terms of the institutional infrastructure. This is not a matter of people around me, say, being racist or being bad people. I think they want to be good people, but the thing that you have to confront and deal with is the fact that this campus, like many others, was built on an undeniably racist foundation. For the first 100 years of its existence, pretty much, black people were not allowed to walk through the door. So what happens is that the culture, the administrative culture, the institutional culture, the academic and intellectual culture was dictated completely by people who don't look like us, people who don't think like us, and the only extent to which we can have a role within these institutions is our ability to think like the people who run the institution. So that means that when you come in as a scholar, you are expected to be a certain type of intellectual. You are expected to do things that I was not excited about doing. You're expected to write a bunch of research papers that don't mean a whole lot, and they get published in journals that nobody ever reads. And even though you have all this ability to do things that can solve critical problems in the black community, you're not encouraged to do that because, to be quite honest with you, nobody in academia, at least not in a business school, wants to hear about the prison industrial complex. and